I'm super excited because we met when you guys were living in Penang, Malaysia, and now you're in Puerto Vallarta, all the way around the other side of the world. We're going to talk a little bit about your journey from Malaysia to Mexico, but I kind of want everyone to get a little bit of context, how long you've been gone, where you're originally from, kind of give us a little brief history of the Kirsten and Mark show.
Well, we left Chicago, where we lived. I lived there for 28 years, and Kirsten lived there most of her life. But we left in 2013 in the fall and moved to Malaysia and lived there officially about a year ago when we moved here, and we officially moved out of Penang in July of this year. So we've been about a year living full-time in Puerto Vallarta.
Wow. So why did you pick Penang and why did you pick Puerto Vallarta? They seem very different to me.
Yeah, they're very different. Penang started out as a vacation and we fell in love with it. Within 3 weeks, we both thought, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's exotic. It has all the amenities you need to live comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, it's got amazing health care. It's beautiful. It's
tropical.
Yeah, it's cultural and rich, and
the food's fantastic.
The people are lovely, and the housing is amazing. So it's really checks all the boxes, except that it's really, really far, like silly far.
Yeah.
And so when we were choosing to leave Penang, we wanted to live elsewhere in the world, but it had to be closer to America because after COVID, we just felt like we needed to be closer to family.
Yeah.
And so Mexico was kind of an easy spot for us to kind of hang our hat for a little bit. I don't think that we said out loud, like, we want to move to Puerto Vallarta and that's where we're going to go. But we came here for a month, which turned into 6, which turned into a year. And here we are.
Yeah.
And happy.
Very happy, for sure. I'm very surprised. Originally, I wasn't so sold on Puerto Vallarta, but as time has progressed, I have become more and more happy here. We had been to many places in Mexico in the past, and we just thought, hey, initially it was a month, but since we've been here so long, and we have now looked at other places that are expat destinations, and so far, the places that we've seen, this is still head and shoulders above any of those places.
Yeah.
For our needs. It may not be for other people, but for us, for sure.
Yeah, and we've been on to the other coasts. So we've been to Playa del Carmen and Tulum and Acapulco.
And Lake Ajijic.
Yep.
Or Lake
Lake Chapala.
Lake Chapala and Ajijic, and just not our thing.
That's for us, yeah. So, you know, being in Puerto Vallarta, we never laid out to stay here, but it just has happened that way. And
so what is it about PV that puts it above these other places that you've been?
Do you want to answer that?
Okay, we'll both answer. For me, I love the fact that it's a city that's electric and it's also on the beach. We weren't going to live anywhere that's not on the beach. But comparing it to Tulum and Playa del Carmen, Acapulco, this has such an electricity that the other coast doesn't have, that we've seen. It's a big city with a small city feeling, with a lot of old world charm that's on the coast, and that kind of ticks all of the boxes that we love.
Yeah. Also, the vibe of this city is, while it's a huge tourist destination, and you know there's cruise ships every day coming in and out of the port, it seems like the vacationers here, there's also a lot of local, or I shouldn't say local, I should say Mexican tourism and tourists that come here. So it doesn't just feel like all of the United States is here. It seems like there is, national Mexican tourists as well as foreign tourism, and that's pretty cool. And definitely the energy and the fact that people are coming here all the time on vacation, it makes it light, because it's not like any other city where there's people that are just trudging along going to work. Here there's so many people on vacation, so there's this holiday party spirit. Even even when we're just going to the gym and you go and walk by and you see a bunch of people, you just feel it's a much lighter atmosphere. Yeah, for sure.
Well, does it make you feel bad that you have to go back to your apartment and work? And they're on vacation?
Well, I mean, you have to work. That's part of life, you know. So until such time that we don't have to. But the thing that is really easy about living here too, and is that the internet is fantastic. So we both work online, so that this is really easy. Like our connections to the States are great. We don't have to spend a lot of money on high usage data. We're just using the standard data that came with the apartment, and it's fine. I do video calls all day, several times a day, and use a lot of data for my work, and so does Kirsten. So,
and how much do you pay a month for internet, for example?
It's included in our rent, but I think, if I recall, it's just a few hundred pesos. If this is correct, it looks like it is 180 pesos a month.
So in what areas do you find, I know cost of living in general tends to be cheaper. Real estate can be on par to some, towns in the US and such, if you're looking to purchase. But in terms of rentals, well, I know you guys have a really good price on rent, which is a little bit of an anomaly, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't expect that anyone would get the same deal that we currently have. We're probably at about 50% of market.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how much do you guys pay a month?
$750 for 1,000 square foot, 1 bedroom plus a den, 2 bath, 8 minutes walk to the beach. It's not an amenity building, but that's a really good value here. People come here and stay in the same floor with lesser of a view, and they're paying that, I think, for a weekend.
We don't want our landlady to know this, though. So.
Right.
So let's not tell anyone.
Well, I think there's something to be said to have good people in your place, right? So I think that's her trade-off.
Mark has to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of other costs, before we move on, just briefly, so how much are you spending on food a month? Do you know? You have an approximate?
Well, we're all in. We did this month fairly, is about as rigorous as the Raccuias can get on budgeting, and it would appear that without scrimping, including housing and everything, we're at about $2,800 US a month, and we had visitors, so we were going out and having dinner and drinks that, we may not have gone to the same places with, her mom was in town for a few weeks, so part of that is in there. So, but that's a very conservative number, and you figure if we were paying market, we paid twice as much, maybe $3,000, because we wouldn't be going out to dinner every night. Because when her mom was here, we wanted to show her all the amazing food that's here.
Which brings me actually to the food that is there. There is a huge diversity of cuisine in Vallarta that I don't think people know about. I think people go to Mexico and they think, oh, we'll just have Mexican food, but it's not like that there.
No, there's great food. There's Greek restaurants that have amazing Greek food. There's a Spanish restaurant. We had fantastic tapas. We just kind of lucked into it.
There's everything. There's Italian, Brazilian, Argentinian,
Indian, Thai.
Not in abundance.
Right, but it's there. Yeah. Peruvian.
And some damn good street tacos.
Yeah.
Some damn good street tacos.
Right across the street from you guys, you have a really great taco place.
Yeah. Those are great.
Oh my gosh, lunch tacos.
Yeah.
I know that place. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's like
often, I bet.
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's, oh my God, now you're making me miss Mexico a lot right now. But that said, so in terms of like, I guess transportation and getting around the city and stuff, you guys don't have a car, or do you?
No,
No.
this is the longest I have gone since being a teenager without
Mark-
having a vehicle.
Mark's twitching.
Yeah,
When he-
I mean, I don't even have a bicycle, and I love to ride my bike, so I don't even have a bike here. And we walk everywhere that we can, and we use Uber or a local taxi service called InDrive, and to a very lesser extent, the local taxis. And the only reason there's no problem really with the local taxis is you just don't know what the value is. They don't use meters, so the same ride could cost you 3 times as much on a taxi. So
You just have to, and if you're going to get in a taxi, just make sure you solidify the price before you get in.
Yeah.
But we generally just use in and Uber. It's much
Yeah.
easier.
What would you say are some of the main differences between living in PV versus like Penang?
Well, first and foremost, there is a culture of service first. Penang has fantastic food and wonderful people, but service just hasn't gotten there.
Customer service.
Customer service, like here, you're on the beach and you could just walk up anywhere and some guy or a woman may walk up to you and be like, hey, do you want something to eat or drink? And you're like, well, you don't have anything. They're like, oh, but that's my house right there. I'll run in and get you a beer and make you lunch. Like that just won't happen, and so there's the customer service in all restaurants and just in general here. People
Wait, are you saying that people are being friendly, inviting you to their house, or they want you to pay for the beer that they're offering?
No. They'll charge you for the
Yeah, it's like a local hut, basically. Or
right.
Yeah.
It's like a guy or a gal who they've got a barbecue grill in their backyard and a cooler full of beer, and they'll go ahead and sell you a beer for 50 pesos, and if you sat at a beach club, they'd sell you the same beer for 50 pesos. So for them, it's a way to make a couple extra bucks, but to the point, and I guess I wasn't direct, is that customer service is fantastic here compared to there. And then this is a beach city. Like Penang had beaches, but we never went to the beach to swim.
There's
we
a
would go
beach
there.
culture.
Yeah, we would go there from occasionally to watch the sunset and bring our own picnic basket or whatever. But it just isn't a beach culture there, and that we love it. Like the other night, we worked until like 6 o'clock, and we said, let's go watch the sunset. So we walked in, watched the sunset, and as we're sitting there watching the sunset, 350 meters offshore, we watched whales.
Magic.
Just right there, like freaking amazing. That just doesn't happen every day to very many people. So,
And I think for me, the biggest difference that I missed so much in Penang was being on a beach and looking at it, but not being able to just go and read a book under an umbrella somewhere unless you brought it all with you. So here you literally walk to the beach, there's umbrellas and chairs, and you can sit for free, and they'll move the umbrellas for you, and they'll help you, and then you can order food, and there just wasn't that opportunity. And that to me is, it feels like you're living on vacation sometimes, because you go to this beach and you sit for the day and you read a book, and it's chill, and it's you have the whole beach, it's amazing. We just didn't have that there.
and you could jump in the water and swim here. And Penang, not so much. The water's not so great.
Clean. So
Right. And in terms of shopping for stuff, right? So I know Amazon Mexico exists. Some of the things coming from the States that we really take for granted, right?
Yeah, you raise a good point. That's the only thing that really stinks about not having a vehicle of any kind. That's the only inconvenience, is that to go to our Costco runs, which we do once a week, plus or minus, or to the more international grocery store to get some of the ingredients for other things that we can't find in the local bodegas, it's a cab ride, and it's normally $6 to $10 each way, depending on traffic and usage. But But there is Costco, there's Walmart, there's Sam's Clubs, there's a Home Depot. So you can get a lot of the same products, and of course you could fill in with Amazon Mexico as well. But this is a place where the people do really cater to you, so that your local shop might even go and stock something if you asked them for it. We just haven't done that.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, it just, so many people just love Vallarta, right? It's become such a destination on so many levels, whether it's tourism or whether it's retirement destination or just simply to move there. Is there anything in terms of challenges or concerns that you had before going, or challenges that you had once you were there that you kind of didn't expect, or the like?
I don't know if this doesn't have anything to do with Puerto Vallarta. It's more about us, but I think one of the challenges that we're coming across is actually getting out of our house and making connections. We came from a place in Penang where we had been there for so long. We had amazing friendships and amazing connections, and we had to schedule nights in because we were always out with friends. And here it's not the same yet. Maybe it will be, but I think that's not a Puerto Vallarta thing. That's a moving to a new country thing, and working from home. You never leave the house. It's hard to meet people.
Yeah, and I think also the difference is when we moved to Malaysia, we had sold our businesses and we had a lot of time on our hands. So then we went to a lot of social gatherings, and we haven't really been doing that because we're working. So that's more on us. But there certainly are. This is a very social place as well. We just haven't taken advantage of that.
And there are, a lot of expats and digital nomads here. So, we went to one digital nomad networking event, and there was hundreds of digital nomads. We might have been the oldest people in the room.
I for sure was the oldest person in the room.
But still, there are a lot here.
I think someone referred to me as grandpa.
No.
We met these people that lived in Fluvial and in Versailles. And they never come down this way, except for just to maybe go to the market. They're always up there. And we're the opposite. We're always in the romantic zone, and we do go up there, but
just for food.
Yeah, just for food. So, it is a very, even though it's not a huge population, it's very diverse, and it has a lot of different neighborhoods, feels. We haven't been to all of them. That's one of the things I need to do.
And in terms of safety, right? That's always number one on people's concern list. I have never felt unsafe in PV. I don't know if being that you've lived there now for a little while, if you have seen other things, but that is a big question that people always ask.
So I think for me, coming from Penang, which was Mayberry, I mean, there was never violence. No, literally the island we were on was so peaceful. And you could walk out at 2 a.m. and not think about anything. I think that in comparison to that, Puerto Vallarta is a big city. And so there are homeless people and there is a drug thing that goes on. But it's not compared to any place in America. It's nothing like that, So, and coming from Chicago, obviously, it's nothing like that at all. It feels very safe here. When I walk alone by myself at 10 o'clock at night, probably not so much, but I would just take an Uber. And in certain areas I could, but
But you're just doing that out of caution, because you walked for all those years in Chicago in far riskier neighborhoods and didn't think twice about it.
I guess because it was my home and I knew it.
Well, and also because we got Penanged. After living in Penang, you live in Mayberry, and there's zero crime, so you lose your vision for all the things that you really pay attention to when you live in a big city.
I've never felt unsafe, but I certainly I just wouldn't walk by myself at night. But I probably wouldn't do that in Penang even if I could, just because I just don't walk by myself at night.
Right. Well,
I think as a woman, you don't get this because you're a big burly man. But as a woman, I think I'm always cautious of that. We have to be. So I think, does it feel unsafe? Not at all. Would I just be smart like I would be anywhere else in the world? Yes.
Right. And that's fair.
And to add to that, I think if there's definitely areas of Mexico that there's trouble. This just is not one of those places.
Yeah.
We have lived here a year. We have seen there's no question, like Kirsten said, there's homelessness, there's some drug affected men and women, but not a huge amount. And
no, a handful.
And generally it's very safe here. I feel far safer here than I did in Chicago, towards the end. And now when I go back, I'm really a little saddened because it's such a wonderful city, So let's hope that they get it together. But in the meantime, if you come here, you come to Puerto Vallarta, you could feel very safe.
Yeah.
And you exercise caution that you would in any big city anywhere.
Don't walk down dark alleys.
Right. Don't be drunk and flashing money at late hours of the night. You wouldn't do that in the States,
Right.
Right.
Overall,
well,
I think
not everybody. Some people like to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people are.
So healthcare, this is also a big item, right, for people when they're deciding where to move to, whether it's within the U.S., Canada, whatever, within Mexico. Have you had to experience the healthcare system at all while you've been there over the last year? And how was that if you did?
We have. Unfortunately, we have. It's easy. I mean, there's clinics everywhere that have doctors in them, so you can just walk up to they're always connected to a pharmacy, so you can walk into a pharmacy, take a number, and go and sit and wait for the doctor. We've done that a few different times, and we've seen a doctor we just had antibiotic shots, and
yeah, because we got some kind of
virus
or
bacterial
thing, and they basically said, well, we can give you antibiotics and you can take them orally for 7 days, or we can give you 3 shots 3 days in a row, and you'll get far better, quicker recovery. So we opted for the shots, and by the second day, I felt close to 100%. The third, I was 100%.
Yeah,
so.
Much better. But it only cost us, every time we went, well, just to get the shot was 35 pesos.
Yeah.
So $1.50 just to have the shot. But I think the most we paid for all the medication and all that was 500 pesos.
Yeah.
So that's $25 for a doctor's visit and medication.
For each of us.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's super cheap. And even we had friends.
And also good, not just cheap. It's good.
Right.
It's affordable and good quality.
Right.
The doctor's office is clean and everything is sterile and it's just.
And they speak English, because that's obviously a concern. But we went hiking with some other friends from Canada this weekend, and he had some surgeries. He has no health insurance. He went into a local hospital. There's a whole bunch of different hospitals, but he didn't go to the fancy hospital that's made for expats, and he didn't go for the local hospital. There was something in the middle, and he went and he got surgery on his knee, and it was really reasonable. I forget what the price was, but I don't think he could have even gotten. It might have been 20,000 pesos, but I just remember when he gave me the number. I remember that 15 years ago I had an MRI done, and it cost more for the MRI than it did for his whole surgery. So you can get good healthcare here and pay for it out of your pocket, or there's a lot of insurance that can be bought depending on your age. We're younger, so it's more affordable. I think as you get closer and closer to retirement, I don't know those prices because I only look for me, and I'm 57. So, and my wife is a lot younger.
A lot. So we're going to get a local insurance. At the moment, we both have a travel insurance, but with travel insurance, we actually went last year when we were here. We ended up having to go to the hospital for some stomach things that were going on, and the hospital was
Fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. We had our health insurance paid for it, our travel insurance paid for it, but it was like walking into any high-end hospital in America.
Yep, and we saw the doctor. The doctor was great. His English was fantastic. And he gave us his cell phone.
Yeah.
And said, and he's like, look, if you don't get better, you call me. And
any
we're
questions,
like,
call me.
Right, and like, really, are you sure? And then...
I know. It's really unheard of.
And then he's like, oh, and here's my WhatsApp. So like the next day I forgot something. So I texted him. I said, I'm going to check and see if he responds. 20 minutes later, he responded. He said, hey, no problem. I hope Kirsten's feeling better, blah, blah, blah. Do this and that. I mean, not possible to happen in the U.S. healthcare system.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you can have whatever you need here. My mom went to the dentist just the other day, and she came down to visit, and it was $40 to get her teeth cleaned, and with the dentist, $40 to have her teeth cleaned. And she said she felt more comfortable going to the dentist here with this woman who took better care of her than who she's been going to for years. She said, she hates the dentist. And she said, I will come back here for anything I have to do in the future, without a doubt.
It's so amazing. I mean, it's such a foreign concept, I feel like, for Americans especially, you know. I've heard it over and over again. I've had tours of hospitals in terms of just the level of care.
Yeah.
And so it's just not the kind of care, but it's just, you know, having doctors listen to you and, like you said, giving them their cell phone number. They do house calls there, apparently. It's just...
Yeah, they do. And the other thing that's mind-blowing, that this was also something that happened in Malaysia too, is the doctor, because of however the healthcare system is, American doctors are fantastic. They're just super overworked. So the U.S. doctor's probably got to see 6 patients in an hour. How much information can he possibly or she possibly get in 10 minutes? Here, that doctor sat with us like for 40 minutes. Just was talking, like, I was a little uncomfortable. I'm like, there's other people out in the lobby. And he just kept on, like, he was really interested in hearing the whole story and knowing about our health history.
Not rushing.
No rush at all. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And that, you know, for me, that's my philosophy behind healthcare, right? You got to really understand the whole person, but that's a whole other topic. I mean, the healthcare system is just broken, and it's just not set up to be that way. But so as we wrap this up, and people are kind of on the fence or thinking about moving to Mexico or, you know, moving abroad, are there kind of some key things that you would recommend people really think about as they're making this decision?
Yes. Couple things. One, and this didn't happen to me, but it has happened to some of our friends. If you're getting close to retirement and you're thinking of coming down for retirement, get credit cards. Like if you want to get a travel credit card that you're getting bonus miles and stuff, do all that research and get it while you're still employed, because you're not going to be able to get that or get the same credit limit. So do that. The other is get your banking stuff in order in the States. Some people make the mistake of having multiple banks that they're dealing with. Try to streamline it. We used to have multiple banks because of some apartment buildings that we owned, and we streamlined it all really to 2 banks. And if I could have my druthers, it would be just down to 1. But that's really good. And I would say, and I'm not an affiliate or getting paid to say this, I would definitely say explore the Charles Schwab checking account, because you can open it up and put a few $1,000s into any Charles Schwab product that, and you know, they're the supermarket, so you can buy anything very affordably and get a checking account that will allow you to use your debit card while out of the country, and they rebate you the fees. And you will, and if you pull money out of the ATM, you always get a very aggressive rate. So it's a trick that we've been using for a decade now, and it's a super great product and very affordable.
Wow, I feel like I have to go look into that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had so many conversations around this, and it's such a great service that they do, and I don't think it's probably what they intended to do, but it worked out that way, and it could save you literally. I did the math in Malaysia, and I was saving hundreds of dollars a month in between transaction fees and what you would lose if you were pulling money out in a traditional way or using other competitors like TransferWise and other banking, like X currency and that kind of stuff.
I think one of the things to remember when you're looking at Mexico is that you might have come down here for a vacation. Living here is not the same. So just because you love a place on vacation does not mean you're going to love to live there. And so you have to go and spend some time there. Don't just think that you're going to fall in love with Playa del Carmen because it was an amazing vacation that you had. It's very different. So don't necessarily have some place in mind that you have to go to, but go there with an open mind and say, let me try this for a month. You can get short-term rentals everywhere now. So try it for a month, check it out, see if it's a place that you would actually want to spend more time. Because when you start adding in logistics, sometimes it's not the right place for you.
Right. The huge difference is it's really great. You're like, oh my God, I love this place. It's so mellow and I could relax and unwind. And then you're there for a month. You're like, oh my God, I'm tearing my head out because there's nothing to do.
Right.
And this goes to Kirsten's point, which she didn't finish, and I think I might have cut her off, but is that I would never buy without doing that exploration visit and spend a season, spend a whole year, spend 4 seasons here, because there are seasons here. Spend that time, know what it's like, because I watched on YouTube videos online from other people who talk about living in Mexico, and the guy's like, I've made a lot of money buying real estate off expats that rushed in and bought real estate too quickly, and then they want to sell it, and he's bought it and took advantage of it. So rather than give that opportunity to somebody else, just burn the rent for a year. It's not going to kill you. You can find affordable places.
Yeah, you just got to put it out into the universe, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you guys, I remember talking to you about, when you were looking to move to Mexico, you're like, I don't know, because you were so used to the Penang's cost of living, you didn't know if Mexico was going to be able to be comparable to that, right?
It's not.
Yeah. It's not. It's more, but I don't think that there is a place on this side of the hemisphere that could compete on a cost basis with Malaysia.
Well, there probably are, but we wouldn't want to live there.
Right, that's true. When you tally everything up, but I mean, if traditionally real estate's the most expensive expense that you have, and that still holds true here as well as Penang. But here it would encroach 35% if we were at market, 35% of what our budget is, and in Penang it would be closer to 15%. So it's that is a big difference. But the cost benefits, you can't put a price on it. We're closer. My dad is 90. He's going to be 93. So when we want to go see him, it's a half a day trip as opposed to 42 hours door to door.
Yeah,
right.
That's major.
Right. Exactly. Well, so if people want to follow you or get in touch with you, find out more about you, where do they go?
I have a blog called Sand in My Curls, so you can follow me there and reach out through that. And
yeah, that's
probably
the best right now.